Beautiful love. Whoa, whoa, no, new world. Whoa, new world. No.
Right.
Hello, what are your names?
My name's Martin Hampton.
Yeah, and your name?
Holmes.
And I've just been looking at the what do you call it? A sculpture?
Speedwell.
A Speedwell.
The light sculpture on Mount Batten Breakwater.
So how did it come about?
So we applied to Mayflower 400 for the open call. They did a commissioning process, and we were successful in our proposal. And then we went to Arts Council for additional funding for it.
Yeah. How long ago was that?
Well, it started back in November 2017, wasn't it now?
Yeah.
So yeah, we've been working on it a long time.
So how did you get into this sort of sculpture?
We've never done this kind of work before. Martin is an architect-trained filmmaker.
Yes.
And yeah, we just sort of looked at Plymouth thinking about this idea of the phrase the new world and in relation to the Mayflower 400 commemorations, and just kind of thought that it was such a strange and problematic phrase that's used so kind of lightly, and yet it kind of masks such a litany of complex sins and historical transformations. And we thought we wanted to do something play with those words,
Yes.
world. And then of course the sound is just such an extraordinary landscape, and Laura had done some work on the big breakwater.
Yeah.
And we thought, wouldn't it be amazing to use the breakwater as the kind of underlying phrase that would sit on the horizon that you would sort of dream of sailing to, and but then when you got there you just see that it's a big kind of pile of material, scaffolding, structure, lights, electricity, and then you'd have to turn around and come back. And that's the idea of calling it the Speedwell, because the Speedwell was the sister ship of the Mayflower, or it set sail with the Mayflower, but because it developed problems shortly after setting off, they had to turn around and come back. And we were interested in the idea that the people on board had to make peace with.
So that it didn't actually get over to America.
No,
there wasn't problems in America.
It got 200
300 miles off the coast, and then was forced to return to Plymouth.
So what was your piece on the breakwater?
So that was back in 2015 or 16. I had a residency at Plymouth Arts Centre and was making a piece of work about the sort of history of the breakwater, the outer breakwater, and the fact that people used to go out there to promenade in this weird location in the middle of the sea, and thinking about its history.
And we were thinking, we thought it would be interesting to try and rekindle that culture of promenading on the breakwater. At the moment it's shut because unless you have special permission from the MOD, the outer breakwater. And the original idea was to transform that. And due to a series of kind of reality checks, we came to realise that with the budget we were able to raise, there was no way we could build something there.
And also the public wouldn't be able to access it as well.
It's a difficult one because you've got to have a business head. I'm no good at business, and I haven't got the patience really because I'm pretty hyper, so I can't sit down and spend long times unless I'm editing or promoting videos. That's the only time I seem to have. So I find the difficulty I have is trying to get the finances to back up what I'm doing and take the time out to do that, because it takes as much time really, doesn't it?
Oh gosh, yes. I mean, this has taken 3 years of planning and applying and speaking to various groups and various authorities to get the permissions in place to do this.
Yeah.
But we're really excited now that, if it had been on the outer breakwater, it wouldn't have been able to be a public space that people could engage with the sculpture, whereas now, there's lots of people down there now questioning what it says, having conversations with, within their families or with other people that perhaps wouldn't have happened without that being out there.
And it's all across social media at the moment, and it's recyclable materials, isn't it?
Yeah, so because it's on a scaffolding frame, it can be reused, it can be rewritten, the discs can be used again and in future artworks, which is really important to us. And it uses low energy, super efficient LED light bulbs that sort of are not wasteful of energy. And we're also working with the National Marine Aquarium, and they have a seagrass reforestation project that we're working with them to explore carbon offsetting any kind of carbon production of the sculpture.
Yeah.
Working with them, because that's a really main theme behind the sculpture. You know, there are no new worlds. We've only got this one world, and we really need to take care of it and look after
well,
it.
you only have to see the Hu after a day when people have been socialising.
Exactly.
They need to get rid of a lot of the plastics. They don't need any. You know, if they started using paper and cardboard again, then they'd be planting trees, and that's what they need to be thinking about, not just making money out of the oils that produce the plastics and the cross-section and stuff. So you said the problematic side of this adventure. What was the problematic side?
Well, the difficulty has just been trying to design a structure that would be able to withstand the storms that are bound to strike between September, October and November.
Yeah.
Whether it's high winds or waves that come crashing over the top. So just trying to build a structure or design a structure that would be able to withstand that within the budget that we've got. Beg borrowing and stealing equipment and weights. We've been lent blocks from Babcock's. We've had an amazing deal from Gem Scaffolding to help with the scaffolding structure. Because it all just had to be able to carry out, it all just had to be able to withstand, that 100-mile-an-hour wind that might come through. It might not. We might be okay, but those 100-year storms do come through with sickening regularity at the moment. And that's something we're extremely conscious of. And it's been really exciting working with tip-top engineers and specialists, getting that kind of detail sorted out. And I think we've really got something that will be safe. And
with Corona, has this been on schedule with the coronavirus?
Yeah, a lot of the other projects that are part of the Mayflower programme have been cancelled or delayed till next year. But because ours is outdoors, we've managed just by sheer chance to.
Because the Mayflower ship's coming over next year instead now, isn't it?
I'm not sure. I don't know if
I think
there's a plan for replica. And that, your question about the problematic nature, it's a difficult date to be commemorating, because whereas some people might want to celebrate the sailing of the Mayflower, there are lots of people for whom that voyage began a series of events that are still unfolding, that have been incredibly wounding to peoples and places
with
around the world.
Black Lives Matter, it's changed the ways of thinking about things in general, from the past in general, hasn't it?
I think it's one stage on an increasingly powerful and important wave of recognising that the way we are taught history only really kind of prioritises the voices of power.
Yeah.
And I think Black Lives Matter is an incredibly important moment where that's being challenged, and I guess that's something that we are.
It's the start of looking at diversity and valuing people for who they are.
Yeah, I mean, I would argue it's not the start, but I think it maybe is a moment where it's breaking out into the public realm more than it has done perhaps before.
Yeah.
And getting recognition, which I think is highly overdue.
Yeah.
I mean, we've been working for these 3 years with Indigenous consultants in partnership with people with Indigenous backgrounds in the UK and also in North America, because we're very conscious of our white middle class privilege and don't want to be speaking on behalf of people whom we've had very little contact through, just through fate and upbringing. So trying to understand what our intentions, what our initial project proposal, would have meant to them, being open to their feedback and then changing it and adapting it has been a big part of the process that we've been through this last 3 years.
So the words keep changing. World, no new world. So can you tell me what that's all about?
So there are 9 iterations drawn from the 3 words, no new worlds. So we have no, we have worlds, we have no worlds, we have no new worlds, we have new, and each one is generated at random by a kind of computer control system which we have no control of. And the idea is to create a kind of poetic flow of these words and these terms, juxtaposing one against the other in an effort to kind of open up the conversational space that the different phrases might contain. For example, the phrase new worlds contains sort of a lot of hope and optimism, which is a very human thing to do, to dream of change and dream new opportunities, but then to juxtapose that with no new worlds kind of brings
it's a new
it back
world to
down
us, but it's somebody's old world, wouldn't it?
Yeah, in that context. But then, there are other contexts where the phrase the new worlds can refer to something completely innocent and not related to the North American colonization story. So we're conscious of the multiple meanings of words, the richness of language, and I think the idea of this random sequence is to create a kind of poetics that is constantly replenishing, constantly evolving, that never becomes stagnant, because with 9, if you roll a 9-sided dice, it doesn't repeat. It's unlikely to repeat itself, certainly within the 3 months of the duration of this piece.
Thanks a lot for your time. How can people get hold of you?
So best place is on our website, which is www.stillmoving.org, or on social media as Stillmoving CIC, or hashtag No New Worlds on Instagram and Facebook.
Tremendous, because it's making people think. And thanks a lot for the show.
Okay.
World. No new world. New world. Protect the planet. World. New world. No new world.